Okay guys, I'm back, and I broke that other one, and then my camera stopped working. It overheated or something, I don't know. I couldn't get the rest of me doing the rest of those arrowheads, but here's one of them. The other one I gave away already. Didn't take a pic, but this is one of the ones that I got from that Clorox bleach bottle bottom after I broke it into two pieces. So we salvaged it. I got one out of both pieces. All right, so here's another piece of bottle bottom that I found at the river the other day, and this was the other piece that I picked up as well. This is a little bit thinner, but I think we can still manage to get something out of it. So what we're gonna do, I'll try this one here first. We're just gonna go back to the pressure flake in here, and I'm going to zigzag this edge because we have a 90-degree, it's a 90-degree angle here, or almost a 90-degree, and it's really hard to nap like this. So we're gonna put some platforms in, and we're gonna zigzag up down by flipping and flipping, just taking a couple each time and work our way down, just to establish a more of an angled edge to where there's actually a edge on that. So we're going to start here at a corner, and these are more downward. Move this down a little bit. These are more downward pressure plates rather than in, and we're just creating platforms. So just going back and forth here. Pressure flaker is dull. Gonna need to sharpen it. I like 2 or 3 takes, flakes off of it, and then I flip it. Some people use gloves to prevent these little shards of glass going in your hands and getting cut. I don't use gloves. I tend to find that gloves take away my feel and my dexterity. So I don't personally like to use them, but some people have no problems using them, and I guess if you practice with them and learn with them on, it's not a big deal. But I get used to doing stuff without them, and it just doesn't feel right to me using them. I've also, after 5 years or so of doing this, I've learned where to keep my fingers, and how to support the piece properly, to minimize my getting cut. We're just working this flat edge all the way around this piece and establish some platforms to be able to run flakes inward. I'm going to try to keep as much of this piece as I can, being that it's not that big of a piece already. Alright, so we don't really want to lose a lot of glass. Now you do see that it has a little bit of a cup in it. I don't know if you can see that in this, but we'll take that out by taking more off of here and then off of this hump area. Alright, so let's come on down around this side. This side isn't as bad, but it still is a little bit, so we're just going to touch it up now while we're doing this process, and then I'm probably going to stop and then sharpen this this pressure flaker. This pressure flaker here that I'm using is a modern pressure flaker, and I actually ordered this one online. I'm not sure where I ordered it. Can't remember. It was 5 years ago, and but there's a lot of places you can order them. I have a couple of friends that make them online on some Facebook groups. So if you are interested in really learning flint knapping, I would suggest going in and getting into some flint knapping groups on Facebook. They tend to really help out a lot. I learned just about everything I know from people on those groups, sharing how they do things. And that, you know, flint knapping is an art, and it has many ways to do it. So there isn't a wrong way or right way necessarily to do things. You just tend to have to, if you can finish a point the way you want it, then by all means do it however you need to do it. Alright, there we go. I think I'm worked all the way around now. So now you can see that I have a bunch of up and down. It's really hard to see on this glass, but it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And the bottoms of these will be my platforms where I'll press this and I'll push flakes in. Alright, we always work the underneath side of the point as we work it. Now I'm going to start shooting flakes inwards, start thinning this a little bit, and this is where this this little cavity out is for, so that lets the flake go down and release. If I did it over here, the pad would stop the flake and you would get a bad step fracture. So we don't want that. I put one finger back here to support the pressure pushing inwards. These two fingers, sometimes three, just support the piece on the top so it doesn't wobble. I'm not pressing down at all. You will break the piece by pressing on it. We're just stabilizing the piece, okay? That's all we're doing, is just making sure that it doesn't move sideways. I like to grind my edge first by upward strokes just on the edge, like so. Turn this down just a little bit more. And then we'll go inwards. I like to do 3 flakes and then move down to the next platform. Upward flakes, grind the edge, first flake in the middle, one on each side. Go down to the next platform. Upward grind. We're just grinding that really sharp edge off so it doesn't crush and we lose our energy. Alright, make sure you push inward pressure and then pop down and to release it. That's how you shoot flakes inward. The more pressure you push in, the farther your flake is going to go. Alright? What you're shooting for is flakes that go about halfway across the piece. As you can see, it's hard, but mine are going just about halfway. And that's what we want, okay? We don't want them to go all the way over to the other side, because then that's called an overshot, and it tends to blow out the other side, and it thins the piece in the width a lot. So there is a time and place for overshots, but you don't want to do them in this situation. Keep on working. This side will up, grind, inward pressure. I'll flip it over. Do the other side. Upward to grind first. make sure you place your pressure flaker below the halfway point. That way you don't break your piece. This is a little slower at first when you're first learning, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty. I just snapped it. I pressed with this finger right in the middle of that groove, and that's exactly what happens. That's alright. We'll keep on going. We had to get rid of that anyway. Alright, come over this side. I'm gonna start working this edge into a point. Now that we just broke it, so we're just gonna shape it a little bit. You can get carried away and just put that downward pressure, and that's all it takes. Pop it away. I'm a little out of practice here because of I've had a finger injury that happened about a year and a half ago, and it just really did a number on my my finger here, my middle finger. It busted it open like popped it like a grape, hit it with a hammer, and it wasn't good for a while. It's fully healed now, but I have some nerve damage to it, and it zings really bad when I nap. So I tend to stay it off of the napping for a while just to try to let my finger heal. And it's getting there. It's still not perfect, but I can deal with it. We're just going back and forth, one side to the other, flipping over as we go. We're working it evenly on both sides. You're working technically four edges, 2 on this side, 2 on this side. Okay, so we're constantly going around to keep everything somewhat even. These are just little arrowheads. We can do bigger spearheads and knife blades with bigger pieces of material, such as this here. This is another jar bottle bottom. You can see how thick that is. That's probably close to a 1/2 inch, 3/8. So that's really thick stuff, and I find that in the creek as well. There's another piece of the same one. And you just got to be a little more careful with things like that, because yeah, okay. I think it's time to eat, so we're going to get to a point here. This is just grinding. I'm just lowering this edge and creating a solid linear platform all the way down this piece. And then I'll just take a series of flakes all the way up the edge, spacing about an 1/8 inch apart from each other. When you first begin, you want to check each flake just so you can see where your flake runs and how hard you've been pushing on it and where it goes. That way you get an idea of the pressure that's needed to do what you're trying to do. Trying to get this to a point now. Now I gotta lower the edge on this side. Make sure you clear out all this glass dust in there, bleeding. Just little tiny, you get little tiny cuts because you get all this little shards all in your hand. You can put a piece of leather in there to stop that. You can wear gloves like I was saying. Or you can just deal with it like the Indians used to do. They used leather. They didn't have gloves. I'm sure they made their own kind of glove. Alright, we're coming. We're getting there. I really need to sharpen this. I'm going to shape it just a little bit. Get that point coming in. Now grinding that way is lifting the edge instead of lowering it. I'm just doing it in reverse. You can do it either way. It gets harder the smaller the piece, and the thinner you get it, it gets harder and harder to not break it because it gets fragile. At this point, just a second. Just grinding again, preparing that platform. Seat, push flakes. There we go. Needed to thin that little bit of a hump out right there. There we go. A couple good ones in there. Yep, alright. Now we have it this way. I'm going to take a small break. I'm going to go eat real fast. Sharpen my pressure flaker. And I'll be right back. Boom, just like that, I'm back. All right, we got a file here. I'm just gonna file this to do it quickly. Technically, hammering it is the best way because it actually hardens your point and you don't lose any of the copper. All right, so you're just reshaping it and hardening it by hammering it to a point. Filing it tends to be a little quicker, but you lose a lot of copper this way. So it's up to you. I don't like too much of a point, but just a little bit of a point to get a little bit of a finer detail. The smaller the piece you're working, the smaller the point you want, and you can also get into a little bit smaller of a pressure flaker as well, like a notcher. I also have a notcher as well. I don't have it out here with me, but all right, let's get back to it. We're going to continue on with this. We're going to shape the back up here for a minute, and then we're almost done. These little points here make cool little necklaces. They also make great hunting points for small game, rabbit, squirrel mostly. They're cheap and they're easy, quick to make for the most part, and you know, once you shoot it once, if it hits a rock or a tree, it's done, it'll break. Sometimes they can be fixed, sometimes not. So, you know, have a few arrows all ready to go. Show you how to make the arrows as well in another video. We're just trying to get this a little more symmetrical, same on both sides. Yeah, I don't. Bleeding once more. These are just small little cuts. These are just from the little shards that collect down on the bottom. And when I sweep them up my hands, some of them will stick me or just swipe me. It's all part of flint knapping. If you don't want to bleed, you won't succeed. Little saying. Take stock in band-aids because you're gonna need them when you first start out. You're gonna cut the hell out of yourself. All right, just a warning. Safety glasses also would be recommended, and a mask for the silica dust as well if you are in a a non-ventilated area, being like indoors or something. Technically, really, you shouldn't do this indoors because of the silica dust. But if you do, some people do in the winter, and they'll do it in like little garages or something like that. But make sure you have some fans blowing the air outdoors and bringing some extra fresh air in, because this stuff will cut your lungs all to heck and give you silicosis, which it's called, and that's not a good thing to have. All right, so be safe. And do the many precautions as you can. Okay. All right, we shaped that up. Now we're going to, well, maybe a little bit more over here. Now we're going to notch it and finish it up. Okay, so notching is easier the thinner you get your base. My base isn't super thin. I could thin it a little more, but I'm not really worried about it. We're just going to go ahead and notch it. So, notching, get all these little pieces off here. Alright, come right over here, line it up. I'm just going to bite into the side here. And then flip. Now we have a platform. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to go center, then the left, then the right, and grind ever so slightly. Flip. And do the same again. Make sure that your flaker does not touch either of the sides that you're going in, otherwise you will break off the ear. Okay, this is a very delicate process. You always want to grind down afterwards. Flip it back over, repeat the process. There we go. You can see that notch is put in. And we'll go over to the other side. Line it up where it's supposed to be. Take a couple flakes in. Grind. Preparing the platform from the other side. Now we can go in this side. Like that. Flip it. Bit the ear off a little bit on that last. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Alright. Take your time. We'll go into notching in another video. Alright, in more detail. With actually a notching tool. Now you can stall these notches out to where they're hard to get going again. Just knock that ear off. That's alright. We'll just bring this one up a little bit. Trim that bottom up. grind it down. Just trying to thin that out a little more. There we go. Fix this side. A little serration and sharpen it up. There we go. Arrowhead ready to be hafted on an arrow. Made out of a bottle bottom, found in the river. Not a perfect point by any means, but just a demonstration point to show you guys how it's done. Okay, small point there. I'll have some more flint knapping coming for you really soon. Comment, like, share, let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if some of you out there that have started knapping have any questions or want to see any certain techniques done. I would be glad to show you guys in video how I do things. Of course, everything is personal opinions when it comes to knapping. I've taken a lot of people's techniques and kind of made my own. So I didn't have a lot of people around me to show me flint knapping, so I had to learn through the internet and over messaging and videos sent to me from other people. So just trying to pass the knowledge on to anyone who's wanting to learn. Like, again, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. I love you guys. Thanks for everything. We'll see you next.